Hello and welcome to the 56th episode of The Real List, a podcast about our real list. I'm your host, Ellis.
And I'm your host, Gloria, and today's selection is from me. This is another...
This is The Help. It's The Help. We watched The Help,
No,
finally.
this is not The Help. This is John Wick, the first movie.
A man who needs some help. Actually, he needs no help. Is
No,
kind
the
of
man
point
does not
of this
need no
movie.
help. So if you don't know what John Wick is a movie that follows John Wick,
A guy named John Wick.
grieving his wife's death, who, apparently she had this disease for a while and they knew about it and they were preparing, but I guess he didn't expect to lose her so soon. And then a few days after she passed, he gets a knock on the door and his wife sent him a final gift to help with his grieving, and it was a puppy, this little beagle puppy, and he did not know how to react.
He reacted by crying a lot.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It's such a touching moment at the beginning of the film that sets this tone of like, we're building this guy up, not in like the epic sense, but in like we are about to put layers upon layers of sadness to give this movie drive.
Mm-hmm.
And you were crying a little.
Yeah, I was. It was so sad. I don't know if they put the puppy close to him or if he moved the puppy close to him. That they don't specify in the scene.
I would assume that the puppy got close to him, I think.
From what it looks like the puppy dragged
itself across the floor. Yeah. Well, they set this up, and I keep seeing ads for Sisu, and a couple of them focus on like I hope the dog's okay, and they're like, don't worry, the dog is okay. They say that in the advertisements. And John Wick, it's like, the dog dies immediately, and this is what starts the movie.
And the whole reason the dog got killed was because some Russian gangsters that saw John Wick at the gas station liked his 1969 Ford Mustang, which is a beautiful car. The car is gorgeous.
It was a really nice car, yep. 69.
Nice. And they asked how much he wanted for the car.
49?
69.
Okay. I didn't say nice instinctively, so I thought you might have fumbled that.
No, I was reading it from the page.
I know, I don't know how to read.
Anyways, what was I saying? John Wick didn't want to sell the car because it's not for sale. That's his car. That's his car. That's his baby.
That is something that he cares deeply about, as evidenced by the comment that his wife left upon getting the...
Oh yeah, the car doesn't count.
Yeah, the car doesn't count as a thing to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Or the thing to give love to or grieve with or whatever.
And so, he gets in the car, he drives off, and they find out where he lives. Obviously, they probably followed him, and they waited for nighttime to come around, and they break it. The dog notifies him that there's people in the house, and he goes downstairs, and there they are, and they basically assault him. They basically ambush him.
They beat the crap out of him.
They kill the dog, and they just take the car keys, and they smash his wife's car.
Yep. They put a baseball bat through the window and slash the tires.
Mm-hmm. And they took his car.
Which I thought was a nice touch. It's a good obviously that car is not going to be the only car in his house. I think it is cool that they show that continuity, or they're closing the hole of, well, didn't he have any other cars? It's like we see what happens to the other cars.
Yeah.
You know what's a really funny detail that I noticed? When Wick is getting gas, what's in the back of the car?
All dog stuff.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of dog stuff.
I loved that little piece, because he's on his way home.
Remember he said when he gave the dog cereal, he was like, oh, we'll get you kibble tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah.
Gave the dog a bowl of cereal. With milk and everything.
Yeah, I know. It's a funny start. It's funny. It lays this down as, Keanu Reeves' character is extremely competent, but he doesn't know how to take care of a dog.
And
he's got his lane and he's staying in it.
So we actually just skipped over.
I know, you just went to the plot summary.
So sorry, came out in 2014. It was directed by Chad.
It's okay. That's all we need to know. He's a Chad.
Written by Derek Kolstad, produced by Basil something, David. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce these last names.
There's an attempt here. You're doing good.
Starring Keanu Reeves, Michael Nyqvist, Alfie Allen, Adriana Pollock, Bridget Monahan, Derek Winters, Ian McShane, John
I'm trying to find John Wick in the list.
Willem Dafoe.
John Wick is not in the list.
It should have been.
It's not.
It definitely should have been.
Well, you never put it in the list.
It should have been on the list because I remember talking to you about it.
Well, there it is.
You gotta
Now
do
it's
1
in the
through
list.
4.
I know. I'm gonna make the space for that while you talk about the movie. I mean, 2014.
And Al Pacino's also in this movie, but he's not listed. I'm pretty sure that was Al Pacino. I'm not mistaken, right?
Where? When?
No, in
Who?
the guy in the club that gives him the tip about.
Is it in here? I don't remember. I don't remember who you're thinking about.
Winston? No, not Winston.
No, I would say it here, but yeah, this is.
No, yeah, it is Winston. It is Winston. Oh, so Ian McShane, not Al
Okay,
Pacino.
yeah.
I thought it was Al Pacino.
Yeah, Ian McShane. This is a very well cast movie.
It is.
I gotta say that all of the casting is extremely solid, and I love the sort of. I love the fact that everyone can just speak Russian. I know it's the Russian mafia, which so it makes sense, but having people switch back and forth between those two languages, and the only person in this movie that does not understand Russian is Mayhem from the Nationwide commercials.
Yeah, he's Dean Winters is Avi. He's Ego's attorney.
When he came on screen, I was like, "Oh my God, Mayhem's in this film!"
Literally, that's what I was like. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? So, anyways, the John Wick finds out who the Russian teen is, and it's Vigo's son, and Vigo is the mafia boss of New York City.
Yep.
And what was his name? Yosef or something?
Yeah, Yosef is the kid's name.
And so he brings
Theon. He goes after Theon Greyjoy. He played Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. That's the only thing I remember him as. Such an iconic role for him, but...
Can I continue?
Yes.
Anyways, Yosef and his goons bring the car to the chop shop, and the guy who owns Ariello, I think his name was, they notices the car because he knows whose car that is. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Where'd you get the car? Where'd you get the car?" And he was like, some guy, and he was like...
It's also John Leguizamo, who has definitely been in other things that
he was Bruno.
Been in. Yeah.
And Sid.
Yeah. He's a good voice. That's for sure.
And so he hits Yosef.
Yep.
And so Yosef tells his dad, and he calls him and is like, "Why'd you hit my son?" And he was like, "Well, your son stole from John Wick's
car and killed his dog." And
so Vigo, being a Russian mafia boss, goes, "Oh," and hangs the phone up. And
I know you're going through the plot summary, and I just want to talk about the stuff about the film. I just have to say there is so much of the dialogue in this film that was intentionally cut down to make the exchanges so much less expository, and in doing so makes it so much better. Like that. There is that phone call, which ends with "oh," hangs up the phone. Then he calls John Wick and says like a whole, he says a few things to him.
He tries to plead for his son basically, and he was like, "Oh, can we put this behind us? We used to work together. We used to be, And John just hangs the phone up on him.
Yeah, he says nothing, hangs up, and then Mayhem asks,
"What did he say?"
The mob boss, "What did he say?" And
like,
the boss says, "Enough." He said not a single word.
Mind you, Vigo's attorney is just sitting in the background shitting bricks. You can see the expression on his face as Vigo's on the phone with John Wick. Mm-hmm. Also, I want to talk about because I put the subtitles on the movies. Every show I watch has subtitles, no matter what.
I try so hard to actually watch the movie and not the subtitles.
But the thing is the movie already had subtitles for when they were speaking in Russian.
Very nice subtitles.
And the subtitles flowed with the movie. Like there's the part where Vigo was sitting at the fireplace and he's singing the song about the Baba Yaga.
Yep.
And John, like the cinematography, the way they play it is he's singing the song. You can see the subtitles, but you can also see John Wick doing what he does.
Yep.
You can see that he's on this mission to find Yosef, and like it's just the nice flow between the two scenes.
He's a man of commitment and sheer will. I know that's not this movie, but that
he said that.
Doesn't it get said in the other movie or in like the following movie, but with more emphasis? Because I feel like I've seen a clip of it being said, like that becomes a mantra. I don't know though. I feel like there's a different version of that line that I'm more familiar with. Focus, commitment, and sheer will. But the way he says it, I sort of went, doesn't somebody else say it differently? You know, and I'm assuming that's going to be either in the second or third movie, because again, I swear to God, I've seen a clip of it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have time to like go and dig into that. I didn't have time to go look it up, but yeah, and this whole premise sets off a killer action movie. We haven't like talked about the movie as a whole. It is a killer action movie.
It is classified as a action thriller film,
which it definitely is.
I mean, it definitely does. It definitely is because the way that the movie is shot. Like, see, I don't like action films, and I said this to you last night. I was like, I really don't like action films, but this movie, the John Wick movies are such good action movies that I can watch them no problem and still be enthralled and still be, still want to know more.
Because of something that I want to get to, which has to do with how good the movie is, but because you like horror movies, you like thrillers. I do like a good thriller movie. This isn't just a shoot 'em up kind of film. This is not The A-Team. This is a movie that puts you maybe not on the edge of your seat. I didn't feel on the edge of my seat, but I was also exhausted while I was watching this.
Yeah, hopefully number 2 will be better.
Yeah, hopefully number 2 will actually be awake for. We had like 40 minutes left in this movie, and I'm going like, I'm not going to make it. We didn't say that we had to cut Dark Crystal in half. We didn't watch that in one go.
Oh yeah, no,
because
Dark Crystal was in 2 days. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but this movie, it puts you towards the edge of your seat because every space that he walked into, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna kill everybody here.
No, he kept the innocents alive. He didn't touch any women or children. Like, like when he walked into the church, the scheme, like, he shot all the men, all of Vigo's guys, but he didn't touch a single woman in there because there was the Russian woman in the front row, there was another lady in the back, and he didn't touch any of them.
Yeah, I actually was sort of thinking about that towards the beginning of the movie. I was thinking, like, this is a man who is a ruthless killer who's done terrible things, except it's clear to me he doesn't kill indiscriminately. Mm-hmm. He's done a whole lot of killing, but he doesn't kill indiscriminately. And I think that's another good piece of the writing that characterizes John Wick as someone who is
mercenary.
Who is bad guy. But he's not bad guy. Even though he is the protagonist of this film, he's definitely not a good guy. He's a mercenary. He kills people. I don't ask how someone gets involved in this line of work, but he's been there.
I know that the movie is also shot in New York. I also like how they use the Flatiron Building as their base of operations.
I guess that was the Flatiron Building. I thought the Flatiron Building was on more open streets than that. It did look a lot like the Flatiron Building, but I was having a whole...
It was the Flatiron Building.
Oh, okay. I had a whole, like, uncanny valley with that, because I was thinking, like, isn't the Flatiron Building, like, on much larger streets? No, that's the Beaver Building. Is that Beaver Building? Is this the Flatiron Building? It does look like One Wall Street. The building is shaped similar to a flatiron. Hold on. The Flatiron Building is a different building. It is not the Flatiron Building. Yeah, see, this is on much larger streets.
You can't make two buildings look the same and then expect me to not get confused.
Well, the difference, again, aside from the streets is, they can because they're built on a diagonal road that cuts through the grid. So there are a bunch of buildings that are sort of shaped like this.
I don't care.
Well, I'm sorry.
You can't get mad at me if I think that building looks like the Flatiron Building and I call it the Flatiron Building.
I'm not mad at you. You're just wrong. I don't know what to tell you.
Hush.
It's the Cocoa Exchange.
I don't give a damn.
Apparently.
Well, it's actually not. It's called the Concierge in the film.
It's called the Continental. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm sorry. How many times have you seen this movie?
At least twice since it's come out.
Okay, you can't get mad at me for correcting you because you got the name wrong.
You know what?
I've seen this movie
leaving.
once and I wasn't awake.
Bye.
I was asleep.
Bye. I'm going away.
Alright, is this the second episode in a row where Gloria has left? Anyway. Yeah. John Wick. Gloria's mad at me because they were wrong about a bunch of stuff. I don't understand the problem here.
Alright, I'm gonna end the podcast now because I'm done dealing with your shit.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, do you know remember how the movie opened where it shows him crashing into with the car, with the SUV? He crashes into and he just falls out of the car and he's just laying there.
Oh yeah, you know what? I totally forgot about that by the time the end of the movie came around.
Yeah. Well, I was like, did you notice the parallel? But you just said you forgot about it.
Yeah, I did not remember it. I did not. I don't even think it's a parallel.
Well,
I think it's just
it shows you where he started, and then the movie shows us how he got there.
Right. Yeah.
Not like a parallel, but I'm showing you this is where we are. But let me show you how we got here.
It's a kind of cold open. There is a filmmaking term for it, but I don't know what that term is. Somebody who knows films, if TJ was here, he would know what it is. Somebody leave a comment and tell us what the hell that is. But I completely forgot about that. I want to criticize the movie for being too subtle in that respect, but honestly, it doesn't really matter that much.
Because you forgot about it. I forgot about it the first time I watched it. So I mean, we're in the same boat there. But I like how they do that though. I like how they showed you, this is where he is, but we're gonna tell you the story of how he got here. Mm-hmm. You know, I know I said it already like twice, but.
But still, it's a good point. And I'm so glad you mentioned this being the Flatiron Building because that would have bugged me for a long time. I spent the whole movie going, I recognize that building, but I don't know. But anyway, you mentioned the cinematography earlier. The film is expertly shot. The fights are, of course, very well choreographed.
Keanu Reeves is his own stuntman, okay?
Yeah, just the lighting on everything is great. The way that they have light shining off the table. Mm-hmm. But we didn't talk about Mayhem enough, because he is losing it for the entire movie. To the point where at the end he's like, I need a gun, give me a gun, give me a gun. And then Mob Boss finally, does the, Turkish ice cream man thing with the gun where he doesn't let him have it. Mm-hmm. Then finally gives it to him, and then Mayhem just gets himself killed. Yeah. It is...
How about when...
it's a great moment.
When Vigo finally has John, and he has his henchmen try and suffocate him, and then you have...
Okay, so this is a stupid part. This is a part that I was thinking about on the camp. Where you were about to say where you have, what's his name, bust him out by shooting one of the guards, right? Mm-hmm. I do want to talk about that, but what I really want to talk about is, why didn't they just shoot him? Why didn't they just shoot him? I know movies end quickly with too much bad guy, competence. But come on. Come on. He had to get Deus Ex Machina out of that situation by Willem Dafoe just hanging out on a rooftop nah, I'm gonna save him, actually. When he was lining up to blow his head off, 10 minutes previous. I know that he had a change of heart, I guess, when
But I
Perkins
mean,
showed up.
he never really wanted. I don't think he never really wanted to kill John in the first place.
No, he clearly didn't want to. Like, they clearly are friends and have a rapport, but he still accepted the job and got up on that rooftop and lined the shot up. He didn't get up there for fun. He was clearly conflicted about the whole thing, but it wasn't a no. So, I think he really only had a change of heart when
he realized that John was severely injured and realized he was going to get ambushed on hotel grounds, on continental grounds.
I mean, he was going to pretty much do the same thing, just from a long ways away.
Yeah, but he wasn't on hotel property.
Yeah, but John Wick was. I feel like that's an odd technicality.
Yeah, but who would know that it was Willem Dafoe? Who killed him if he did succeed?
I don't know. I'm just saying that they are both willing. Like Polly Perkins is not special because she's willing to break hotel rules. She's being paid double for it, and he's not. And he didn't know that. And if he did know that, I could understand if he was like, "Oh, wait a minute, not F this. I'm mad at Vigo now because he was going to pay what's her name twice as much." But that's none of that comes to pass, and it would be kind of flimsy even if it did. It's just he's lining up the shot. He's thinking about it, and then Polly comes in the room, and he's like, "All right, now I'm on John Wick's side," which, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I wish John had not been Deus Ex Machina out of the chair that he was in. It just feels like a really weird moment in the plot. But that is maybe the only real critique I have, the only real problem I have with this movie. Which is saying a lot. I like how they don't explain the gold coins, by the way. You know what they are right away. Just in how he uses them. Barely anyone even mentions them.
It's explained more in the second movie.
It's explained. I was figuring that, because I had read a little bit. But...
Can I finish my thought?
Yeah.
I was trying to say, before I was interrupted...
I thought I had something to contribute.
I was going to talk about the way that they played that scene.
I want to hear about your thoughts on how they played that scene. I just had something that I thought was important.
So, after Willem Dafoe shoots one of the guys, right?
For no reason. Go on.
No, I'm not going to finish my thought now.
yeah,
Nope.
You are. Come on.
No,
Come on, do the thing.
No.
Do the thing. Say into the speaking of the mic.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep. All right, well, I'm giving this movie 1 star on behalf of Gloria. And, come on.
Are you going to stop so I can talk?
Okay.
After the guy dies and John fights for his life, he escapes right as Vigo and his guys are, I don't think it's the lawyer that he leaves with. I think it's one of his bodyguards he leaves with. And he runs around the other side of the building and meets the car.
Yep.
On the other street, on the other side of the street, and he shoots. I don't know what kind of gun he had, but he shoots some kind of pellet into the windshield. Two shots.
Yep.
Into the windshield, and the car crashes. He jumps on the roof and shoots another pellet into the car. And Vigo's like, all right, okay, I'm done. You can have him. He was like, call off the contract. You know that man pissed his pants, right? He probably shit himself.
Yeah, no, that was a great scene, and I love that John was totally willing to. First of all, double tapping. He does that a lot, which is smart for a hitman. I love how that scene plays out, and how John is totally able to, after he kills Yosef, just be like, all right, I'm done, going home. Just like, all right, I came here, I did what I did, now I'm going to go home. And only when he finds out that they killed Winston
not Winston. Marcus.
Marcus, sorry, not Winston. For for betraying Vigo.
Yeah, but But, I mean, yes, and then Marcus was like, you called off the contract. He was like, you had ample opportunity before I called that contract off.
Yeah. No, I think Vigo is well within his rights, so to speak.
You said earlier, when we started watching this movie that he doesn't count his bullets. I was like, he doesn't have to count his bullets. He's counting theirs.
Yeah, but like there are some things that, and honestly, it's a good thing. But he's not perfect.
No, he's not. I'm not saying
it
that.
makes it. No, I'm not saying that you are. I'm saying that it is interesting as a sort of narrative choice to have him. Yes, he is out of practice. There are excuses for this. There are reasons for this. But have him do things like pull the trigger when there's nothing in the chamber, and have these encounters not always go his way, not completely. He is a one-man army, but he's only one man. We're already at 25 minutes, which is a shame because there's so much I wanted to talk about this movie, especially comparisons to Atomic Blonde, and the fact that he gets injured, which is another thing that would be an issue.
I kind of like that because it makes him more human, though.
No, the injuries don't slow him down.
I know that, but I'm just saying that, you know, they say he's this boogeyman and he's a force to be reckoned with, but the fact that he still can get injured and show that he can fight through his injuries, it makes him more human, though.
I agree with you in part, but not fully. I feel like definitely the fact that he fumbles sometimes and he gets injured totally makes him more human and makes him more of a real character. But these...
My pen!
These injuries... Yeah, it is. These injuries don't seem to slow him down. I know there's like a plot reason for it where he takes those pills, you know, you'll have full function, says the doctor.
Take him 2 hours.
Yeah.
He did not take it 2 hours
No, he took
before.
it like 2 minutes before he walked in that church. And the
bathhouse.
The priest going, you know, he'll kill me, and John saying, was also like a giant conversation that got cut and is another perfect example of the brevity.
I also like how John was on top of another building, and he sees Vigo and his guys pull up, and he's like, bring me him, and he watches the priest get killed.
Yep.
As, like, it shows you that Vigo actually stuck to his word, like...
Oh, yeah, I know, the priest was totally right about what would happen, and John, you know, was, like, understanding that was the reality of the situation. But the fact that he continues to fight through those injuries, I feel like takes away from the humanity a little bit and makes him more into a killing machine. I don't think this is a problem with the film, because I sort of had to ask myself, if they had addressed that more, would it have made the film better? And the answer is definitely not. Like, the fact that he's continuing to fight despite these accumulated injuries should be a problem for any normal, real person, but it doesn't matter, because it's John Wick.
But before we go, I want to talk about the bathhouse scene.
Yes, go on.
John finds out that, you know, from Winston where he is, because he's like, I can't help you, but he actually does help him out in the end, which is, you know, shows that Winston and John are actually close friends.
Yep. Everyone's close friends with John. Everyone knows him by name.
And so the way he gets into the bathhouse is guarded. They have people on patrol checking in like every 2 seconds about where he is, and John just slips into this bathhouse. Well, first of all, he meets with the guy. What was it? Eddie?
Oh, yeah, the doorman. Frank.
And he's like, take the knife. Points a gun at the back of his head. And from the darkness, he just comes out of the darkness and is like,
take the night off.
Take the night off. And he's like, thank you, Mr. Wick. And he just leaves. And so he gets in. He takes out the guard watching the door. Kills both his Yosef's friends. And goes throughout the club just killing every henchman that comes at him.
But only the henchmen.
Only the henchmen. He doesn't touch anybody else but the henchmen. And then Yosef's in the bath, like in the bathhouse part.
He's in a hot tub.
In the hot tub. And they're like, one of the guys is like, I'm not here to take care of a drunkard, and takes away the bottle from him.
Yep.
And
Which, legend.
He's like,
Effing
I'm not
legend.
afraid of no boogeyman. He's like, you fucking should be. Like, everybody's afraid of this man, and I'm like, if I was in the universe that John Wick was in, I would be terrified of this man.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're living in a world where mercenaries are actively on the streets taking contracts. You don't know if somebody put a contract out on you and you're next. Like,
They do that. Like, this is the last point that I want to make, which is the fact that everyone knows John ties into one of the best things about this movie. The thing that probably they do the most right.
What?
The world building.
Yes.
It is absolutely stellar on every level. From the visual to the character to the conceptual. It is hammer on the head, nailed it. And that is the one thing that I think sucks you into this film more than your average action film. Definitely sucked me into this film more than the average action film. Yeah, again, there's so much to this movie. We could spend an hour on this.
Just so much to talk about for this movie, and it's just
the cleanup crew. That's why I wanted to get us off the plot summary as fast as possible. I was just like, I want to talk about the stuff. But we're at 30 minutes here, and I am going to say, what do you rate this movie? Is this a 5 for you?
This is a 5.
This is a 5 for you. I don't doubt that at all. I am going to... My original consideration was to give this a 4. Because I did like this movie a lot. Can you not point that at me? Gloria's going to stab me if I do this wrong.
I killed the man.
You're not even going to get a coin for that.
Killed 3 men in a bar with
a pencil.
A fucking pencil.
Again, the way they talk John Wick up, is part of the world building. It's incredible. I was gonna give it a 4. I don't think it's a perfect movie, and it's not my favorite movie because I'm not an action film hog.
Watch Top Gun.
I kind of want to watch Top Gun because it's a classic, and I feel like I'm missing something. I'm not one for like warplane movies anyway either. Point is, this film, I am giving it a 4.5. There were a few detractors. Again, this is not the kind of film that I like in terms of action sequences. I prefer the more, not that there weren't, but the more physical improvisational sequences like those in Atomic Blonde. Those stick out to me more than the gunfight sequences in John Wick. Guns.
John is also very thorough too.
Yes.
Like with his kills.
Like it is, the choreography is beautiful. Double tapping, and he does use his environment to an effect, but it is a little bit more simple than what I guess I like to see. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of action movies. This is sort of an introduction to, okay, do you like this? It's asking me, do you like this? And my answer is, it's all right. But there are some absolutely stellar pieces, and I cannot give it a 5, but I'm gonna give it close. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Well, hopefully you like the other 2 movies.
I'm looking forward to the other 2 movies, although I do understand that perhaps not unlike the Fast and Furious saga, they get a little bit more ridiculous as time goes on. I've seen clips and read a little bit here and there. We will see what I think when we actually go to watch those movies. Next week is John Wick 2.
Woo woo!